The meeting is called to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Kramer? Mrs. Lane?
Here.
Mrs. Rich?
Here.
Mrs. Gallagher? Here. Mr. Kraftcheck?
Here.
Mr. Parzak?
Here.
The meeting is now open. Adequate notice of the meeting was provided by posting a copy of the time and place on the municipal clerk's bulletin board and mailing a copy of the same to the press and the Cape May County Herald on January 6, 2018. Just please remain seated for a minute. Sadly, we find ourselves in a position to yet again have a moment of silence for innocent victims of a mass shooting. Please remain standing after the Pledge of Allegiance for a moment of silence to honor the victims who were killed and injured by a gunman at Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. We remain silent also to honor the families of those victims, their friends, and their entire community. We also honor and thank the first responders who ran in as everyone else ran out. Gun control, mental health issues, constitutional rights, the sanctity of schools, the safety of children, the safety of our citizens. It is all part and parcel of the conversation that needs to be had because we simply cannot accept this as business as usual. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So we will start our meeting with the Union League discussion.
Good morning, Mayor, Council. Well, good morning. I'm usually doing court in the morning. I'm not really here at night to see the council, but good evening. Beautiful weather today, obviously. We are here tonight to bring up a discussion regarding an ordinance for the Union League. Currently, we're trying to seek a club license for the Union League for the bungalow, which is located at 222 81st Street. But there is an ordinance in Stone Harbor that only allows for one, which is for the yacht club. I was here to answer any questions that you may have and kind of discuss what we're seeking for the Union League in regards to the club license and how it's a little bit different than the normal bar situation that a lot of people might think is associated with the club license.
Just for the record, if you would just state your full name
Absolutely.
and the firm you work with. and so on.
Absolutely. Carly Farrow on behalf of the Law Office of Dennis L. Riley here for the Union League.
Thank you. So just as a matter of background, I was notified by an attorney from Mr. Riley
Yes.
from the Union League asking if we would entertain a meeting with him to see if we would consider granting a club license to the bungalow located down on 81st Street. 81st Street. So we met, it was Joe Goucher, Mark Caravan, the solicitor, Sue Stanford, the clerk, myself, and who else? And it was the two attorneys. We just discussed, they told us what they envisioned, how they would plan on utilizing that license, so to speak. And as a result of the meeting, we all came out thinking that it sounded like something that was a valid request, and we wanted to discuss it with the rest of council. That being said, also, you'll see in your agenda packets that the clerk provided everybody with a letter from December 6, 2013, when the Union League had approached the borough. So it's been some time since they've been hoping
Yes.
to obtain this license. So, that being said, anybody have any particular questions, or if the solicitor wants to address anything?
So I had outlined some of the substance of our discussion and disseminated it to the council members. There seems to be a question relative to the issue of the music, because we had mentioned that there would not be live music, but I think in one of the correspondences, it references acoustic music. Could
Yes.
you clarify that?
Absolutely. So I wanted to check with our clients to make sure that I was representing exactly what was going on at the Union League at the bungalow. There is a guitarist that plays an acoustic guitar for the members, and he's been playing there for quite some time and plays on a small amplifier. They will not be bringing in anything additional to that. And of course, if the council does not want that to be there any longer, they could take the amplifier away or discuss something differently, but they wouldn't be adding anything additional, no live bands. It would just be the same guitar, just acoustic guitarist that kind of just gives more nostalgic feel. People still have the conversations. It's, members only, so it's not going to be this loud event where people aren't going to be able to hear each other speak and enjoy their meals. It's more just an atmosphere, a light atmosphere for music.
Can we describe it as live background music with acoustic guitar and
That's it.
small portable?
That's exactly what it is, and like I said, it's been exactly what they've been doing, so from what I know, it hasn't caused a complaint with the neighbors thus far. The bungalow obviously is in a residential neighborhood, so they take pride in making their neighbors happy. They don't want to make an issue being next to anybody.
And termination of the music is when in the evening? When does it?
Actually, I have Patricia Tobin with me too. This is Patricia Tobin. She actually is the Director of Operations for the Union League, and she is the head of the food and beverage for the Union League. So she might be able to answer that question more directly, because I don't want to misrepresent anything to the council.
Hi. We terminate around 9 o'clock, between 9 and 10 o'clock.
Now, is that, the question was, is that the last service, or is that when you're pulling the plug?
Last service, the last people seated are at 9.
Okay,
As far as the live music goes, that ends around 10.
okay.
We do have, like, taped music, a sound system, but we are strict about turning that off by 11 o'clock in compliance with the noise ordinance, and we've never had an issue with any of our neighbors.
And there's no outdoor amplified speakers?
No, I mean,
Have the little speakers.
they have
you
those
can
little
hear.
speakers, but it's nothing, it's really ambiance. It's not, our members are more about talking than listening to sort of the music.
Okay.
Thank you. And as Patricia said, it is last seating at 9 o'clock. I know I wanted to just make that clear, because now we had discussed service versus seating, and of course, I don't want to misrepresent anything. So the last time they will seat an individual is 9 o'clock. So normally, they're cleaned up and out by 10:30, 11, staff and everything. But you always have those people, of course, that want to sit and dine and talk a little bit longer. But traditionally, they're done dinner around 10, 10:30, the last person seated. And just to clarify it with the bar situation, it's a service bar only. There will be no adjacent seating. A patron, a member, or their guest cannot go to the bar and order a drink. It is only the waiter or the waitress who can actually take the drink order and get it from the service bar. We're actually trying to figure out a way to have it not even in front of the patrons, because we're trying to keep it as an amenity, not as a bar. So just as a cocktail to be able to have a dinner, not a bar. So that's with the music as well. We don't want this to be a bar scene. We want this just to be an amenity to the members and to the guests that have already been dining there for the past 4 years.
And this is going to be strictly a restaurant and not do catering functions?
Oh, absolutely. This is not even open up to private events, so there's no weddings, no private events. They just bought, the Union League just bought the San Barron, so it's Union National. They can go over there if they want to do that, but the bungalow will strictly be for restaurant. 5:30 is the first service, first seating, 9 o'clock's the last seating, and they open up on Memorial Day, and they close the Sunday before Labor Day. So it is just a seasonal summertime thing. And I do know a lot of the members, approximately half of them live within like the 7-mile radius of Stone Harbor. So it's the same people that have been using it for the past 4 years.
During our meeting, we also discussed the conditions that are statutorily imposed on club license.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
you've had a chance to discuss that with your clients? and they understand
Absolutely.
that'll be incorporated in any ordinance permitting this?
Absolutely, they understand that they have to abide by not only the ordinances for Stone Harbor, the ordinances for the club license, and anything with the alcohol beverage as well.
Anybody have any questions?
I'll weigh in. I don't have any questions. I think it's a wonderful idea. I think it'll be a wonderful addition. Great convenience. I'm familiar with the Union League's operations in Philadelphia as well as here. Everything has, to my knowledge, been run very professionally and very responsibly. I think it would be welcome to the community, and I know a lot of the people who belong there, and I think it would be a great convenience to them and a great asset to our community.
Anyone else?
I have no problem with it. I'm quite familiar with the Union League, and I think you've done a beautiful job with the property. Thank you for including the pictures, but if everything goes according to Hoyle, as stated here, I don't have a problem with it.
Anybody else?
How long is the club license good for? Is there,
It's an
is it
annual.
renewed
Every year.
It's renewed like every other license on an annual basis. But in order to do this, we have to adopt an enabling ordinance. So, I mean, although we're discussing it today, the general consensus will be to move forward with an ordinance at the next meeting for first reading.
Yeah, the only, it's not a reservation even, it's just a consideration. I think we should clue the neighbors in that we're doing this, and Golden Shores, and just let them know that's, this is under consideration, and we seem to be agreeable to granting it. So I think we just ought to give them a heads up that this is happening.
I think that's a good idea, for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously, the ordinance will be published, but perhaps something a
Because it
little
would be
more direct.
published, right, and then there'd be the public hearing. Since there's a change in ordinance, there would be a public hearing on the second reading,
That can go easily missed, so perhaps some sort of.
like a targeted mailing of
yeah,
some sort.
targeted mailing, or just something to.
You can do an
all the-
assessor list within
Right.
200 feet if you
Within
want to do
200
that.
feet, but as was stated, it sounds like there's going to be no change in the entertainment, the limited entertainment that there is, and then on top of that, there's been no issues in the past, so
Well-
I don't foresee any problems.
And
going forward.
currently, they have a Hawk Haven satellite license, right, a winery license?
Yes,
So you're serving, I mean, they're serving alcohol, so this is just going to add to the amenity. It's not really going to make that much of a difference in the operation.
That's exactly it. They have the Hawk Haven, and we haven't had any issues so far. We're just wanting to just, make it an easier amenity, and as you said, it's a very professional atmosphere, and that's what they're just trying to keep, and respectful with the neighbors. And obviously, whatever the council decides that they want to tell the neighbors, we absolutely, first, I would never disagree on that, but from what I've been told, the neighbors are very friendly with the Union League. They have a very good rapport with them. So whatever is necessary, we'll do whatever we need to as well to make sure that we comply and make the neighbors happy.
I think
Okay.
if we do the targeted mailing, rather than possibly create a problem where none exists, people have to understand the difference between a club license and a regular liquor license, which many people may not be aware of.
Right. And there
Otherwise-
is no addition of a bar.
No,
That's a
right.
major difference here.
Yeah.
There's
Exactly.
no-
They
You're
don't-
not
and
adding a bar.
Absolutely not. There's actually, we're trying to discuss the possibility of building the service bar outside of the actual dining area, more where the waitress station is, and that's kind of our goal. We're trying to figure out how to do that, because we don't want people to even see them, because they're kind of going to be standing with their back to them anyway, just serving the drinks, and no one can even approach the bartender. They can't help them. This isn't a cash business. It's all done by the member's account. So anything that you go, the member has to pay. Your guest can't pay. So it has to go to your account with the Union League. So there's not
So
going to
it'll
be going to the bar.
Handled the same way it would be at the Union League of Philadelphia when a member goes into the cigar bar or they go into one of the restaurants.
Absolutely.
Everything is signed for.
Right.
So you hope you go with a member so you don't have to pay pretty much. But no, there's no cash, and it's members only for that, and no patron, whether member or guest, can go to the bar to order a drink. So that's why we're trying to definitely differentiate ourselves from what people traditionally think of when they think of any license. They think bar and people hanging out and drinking excessively, and that will not be the case here.
So the only thing that council needs to do is add by ordinance one additional club license.
We'll add one additional club license, and the ordinance will contain the specific restrictions that we had discussed for this license.
I'm fine with it, too. I just want either D changed, where it says there will be no live music,
Right,
or so that it can
yes. Well,
accomplish
will.
what you're trying to accomplish,
I will,
so it's in there.
yeah, I'll amend it in
Yeah.
accordance with the discussion we had here.
Okay, then we'll have the solicitor prepare the ordinance, and we can take a look at it and do an introduction at the next meeting.
And of course, if there's anything that you need from my office or from the Union League, please let us know. We'll make sure to get that over to you immediately.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
consideration.
Next up, our presentation, it's been canceled, correct? Any communications?
No, Mayor.
May I have a motion concerning the minutes?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I move that since all members of council have been provided with a copy of the minutes of the work session and the meeting of January 16th, 2018, and the work session and the meeting of February 6th, 2018, if there are no additions or corrections, I move we dispense with the reading of the minutes and that they be approved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public comment? Anyone wishing to address mayor and council may do so at this time by coming forward to the podium, stating your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, we'll move on from public comment. Ordinance 1512.
Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance 1512 be taken up on second reading.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Will the clerk read the title only of ordinance 1512 on second reading?
An ordinance amending Chapter 230 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Stone Harbor, adding a fee.
The public hearing on ordinance 1512 is open. The public hearing is closed.
Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance 1512 be passed on second reading and advanced to third and final reading.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Lane?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher? Yes. Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Will the clerk read the title only of ordinance 1512 on third and final reading?
An ordinance amending Chapter 230, adding a fee.
Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance 1512 be passed on third and final reading, adopted and published according to law.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Lane?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Ordinance 1513.
Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance 1513 be taken up on first reading.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Will the clerk read the title only of ordinance 1513 on first reading?
An ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank.
This is something we do every year. We're allowed to establish, our cap bank is set at 2.5. We're allowed to establish at 3.5% for any contingency we may have at the end of the one budget year going into the next. This would be the amount of $102,078.12. So I move that ordinance 1513 be passed on first reading, published according to law, that it be taken up on second, third, and final reading, and adopted at a meeting of mayor and council to be held on the 20th day of March, 2018.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Lane?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Ordinance 1514.
Madam Mayor and Council, I move that ordinance number 1514 be taken up on first reading.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Will the clerk read the title only of ordinance 1516 on first reading?
I don't have it.
1514.
1514 on first reading.
No, I do. I'm sorry.
Got it.
An ordinance amending Chapter 360, loitering.
This revision to the ordinance increases the maximum fine for loitering from a maximum of $200 to a maximum of $1,250, as was recommended by our prosecutor.
Motion.
Madam Mayor and Council, I motion that ordinance 1514 be passed on first reading, published according to law, and that it be taken up on second, third, and final reading and adoption at a meeting of Mayor and Council to be held on the 20th day of March 2018.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Lane?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Ordinance 1515.
Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance 1515 be taken up on first reading.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Will the clerk read the title only of ordinance 1515 on first reading?
An ordinance amending Chapter 542 of the revised general ordinances, the capping of water and sewer lines.
This amendment pertains to water meters and their disconnection with regard to demolition and reads in pertinent part, in connection with the demolition of structures or if at any time the construction results in the cut and capping of water sewer lines in excess of 48 hours, the meter must be removed from the meter pit by a New Jersey licensed plumber or authorized borough employee, and the meter shall be returned to the Utilities Department for safekeeping until the work has been completed sufficiently. Meters will be returned to the ground upon written application of a meter set request and a reinstallation fee of $145. Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance 1515 be passed on first reading, published according to law, and that it be taken up on second, third, and final reading and adoption at a meeting of mayor and council to be held on the 20th day of March 2018.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Lane?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Resolution 2018 S54.
I offer Resolution 2018-S-54 for adoption.
Second?
This is a list of the recreation fees as presented by Miranda during the work session.
Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Lane?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Resolution 2018 S55.
I offer Resolution 2018-S-55 for adoption.
Second?
This is another list from the Department of Recreation for the 2018 special events fees.
Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Lane?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
I need a motion appointing our new fireman.
Mayor and council, I move that a new fireman be appointed, Mr. Eric Stager, who's a resident of Cape May Courthouse.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I need a motion approving multiple EUS contracts.
I have that motion. There's a dozen of them, and I think Miranda touched on them a little bit for this, but they're most all the same ones that we've had for last year. So I move that we accept the programs for the summer.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We do not have anything on the agenda.
One more
Two
motion.
motions here.
There's another motion?
I need a motion to authorize the purchase order for Stockton for the nuisance flooding project in the amount of $14,599.95.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And also, one has just been added as a motion for a purchase order for de Blasio and Associates for the engineering and permitting at the Bayside bulkheads, 94th Street and 114th Street, in the amount of $34,000.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
That's it.
Okay. We have nothing on the agenda for discussion. May I have a motion approving the bills?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the bill list and authorize the CFO to pay the bills when the funds are available and the vouchers properly endorsed.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We'll now have second public comment. Anyone wishing to address mayor and council may do so at this time by coming forward to the microphone and stating your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, will close public comment. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.